Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CNC with Dave show. We've got a exciting show for you tonight, I think. We're going to be talking with Mr. Jerry Brown about his adventures in X-Carve, and I'm looking forward to that. I know there's a lot of those X-Carve machines out there, so I'm sure some other folks can probably pick up some tips from him. And Michael Chipser is on here, or he was. Did we lose him? Yeah, maybe we lost him. He was on here as well, and I know he's done the same upgrade, I think, to his as well. But he'll probably pop back in here in a little bit. Yeah, here he comes now. But anyway, before we get started on that, I've just got a couple of quick announcements. Well, first, I'll tell you what, we'll go through the introductions first. And I'm going to start over here on my far right this time. I always start on the other side, but take her away, Rich Moeller.
Hi, Rich Moeller here. You can find me on Facebook or YouTube under the name Shade Tree CNC.
Okay, thanks for being here tonight, Richard.
Thanks for inviting me.
Next, we have Peter Pasquello.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Dave. It's Peter Pasquello here. You'll find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter under the name of CNC Nuts.
Super. All right. Thank you, Peter. Next, Mr. Mertsky.
Hey, how's it going? Mike Mertsky, Mertsky Custom Woodworking. You can find all of my social media links on my website, mertskycustomwoodworking.com, and probably the most active on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Thanks for being here tonight, Mike. Next, we have another Michael, Michael Chipser.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Mike Chipser. You can find me on Facebook under Wood Chips and as well on YouTube. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right. Thanks for being here, Michael. And, of course, Mark Lindsay.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am Mark Lindsay, and you can find me here on YouTube under this name. Also over on Facebook under the same name in way too many woodworking, guitar, and CNC groups. And when I can remember that I'm on Instagram, I don't think I put anything over there in about 2 weeks, so I need to take a picture of something and get it up there real quick. I'm also on Instagram. So thanks for having me, Dave.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, too, and I never remember to put a picture over there. Okay, Juan.
Hi guys, I'm Juan Lopez. You can find me on YouTube under G Code 1 Design, and I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram, but mostly on Facebook. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Okay, thanks for being here, Juan. And David.
Hi everybody, I'm David Mattershell in Dale, Oklahoma. You can find me now on YouTube. Dave has put a link down at the bottom for you, and I'm strictly a hobbyist, and you can find me here every Saturday night sometimes. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, people, if you drop down the whatever they call that, the show notes or the description or video description or whatever, there should be links to pretty much everybody's YouTube channel or Facebook page, whichever they have down there. So make sure you check that out. And Jerry, I'm going to get back with you real quick, but I want to make a couple of announcements real quick, or just kind of talk about a couple of things. I'm sure probably everybody's aware that the 2016 Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge is well underway. We've got a few entries in already, and I would encourage anybody, if you're thinking about shooting a video and entering that, make sure you go to the website, and I believe I have those rules on both my websites, the CNCsidewinder.com website and the GarageWorksCNC.com website. So go check out the rules. There's not a whole lot of them, but just check those out before you start making your video. And also, we just give everybody an update. The GarageWorks CNC giveaway, I started taking entries December 1st. Today's the 10th, and I've got 655 entries so far. So looks like it's going to be a full basket when I finally get those things cut up and put in there. We'll be doing the giveaway live on this show January 14th. You do have to be watching the show to be able to claim the prize should you be picked as the winner there. So just remember that. Okay, let's get back to Mr. Brown there. Jerry, you want to tell everybody who you are and where they can find you and all that good stuff?
Hey everybody, Jerry from Polly Wants a Crafter. I'm finding I like Instagram a lot better because there's a lot fewer political posts. But I am on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, but I never go there.
Okay, yeah, there's a political post or two on Facebook I've seen. Well, what you got for us tonight, Jerry? I understand you made some upgrades to your X-Carve.
Yeah, well, when I got this X-Carve a while back, I've been talking, of course, to Dave and Richard Moeller for a few years now. But I got this unit, and then Richard suggested switching to chains. And he worked up all the schematics and the math for me. And I finally put that together and installed it. I actually made the brackets myself on the X-Carve, which they aren't the greatest. They're out of Delrin, and the back one here is out of oak. But Michael Chipser actually had Juan make his at the machine shop out of aluminum, which is a much better option. I've also switched the big rail here to a single piece, and the base are 40 millimeter by 20, a little more rigid, with supports for the arms here and dust shield, of course.
Okay, so so I'm assuming that thing's a lot more rigid than the stock X-Carve was.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more accuracy.
Yeah, well, that's great. Are you still using? Well, just tell us what you use for design and programming with that also.
I went ahead and bought the V-Carve desktop with the unit, and then I learned it. Since then, I've started learning Fusion 360. I'm kind of lazy about getting on there. I was sitting in front of the computer plenty, just drawing up pictures to cut on this thing. But pretty much just send the G code through this, and then I go into Easel and run it through the online service for the X-Carve.
Yeah, I know a lot of people may start out using the other stuff that it comes with, Easel and all that, and then but as far as design, I don't think you can beat Vectric. I'm a big fan of the Vectric V-Carve, V-Carve Pro and all that. So in fact, all their products are pretty good. So
I'm working on Aspire, but that's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, that's a pretty good chunk of change, Aspire is, but something to work towards, I guess. So, Michael, did you do basically the same upgrade as Jerry?
I did a very similar one. I think I used the single rail I used was a 40 by 40 from Open Builds instead of Inventable, but overall the same big bracket, same chain. The only difference is one, like you mentioned, mine I believe.
Okay, now is that your machine we're seeing there live?
That is. That's my fancy new camera I just
Wow.
bought.
Okay.
It's actually doing a photo V-Carve for a present for Christmas. I'm watching it while I'm on the
Oh, I see. You wanted to be on the show, but you still had Christmas presents to make.
I still got work to do, yeah. I still got work to do.
That's efficiency right there.
Yeah, that's multitasking.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll try not to hold you up too much, Michael.
Well, I'm here. If it starts going fast, I'll run out there real fast.
Yeah. Now, did you make any of the other upgrades that Jerry did by changing, beefing up the frame at all, or?
The only other change I did, other than I did the dust shoe, did the one piece X rail, but I didn't do any of the base or any of that mess.
Okay. Now, Jerry, of course, Michael's got his running back there, but are you able to, are we going to be able to get a look at the, close up of the chain drive mechanism?
Yeah, it might be easier for me to run a video.
Oh, okay.
I did a test shoot for this.
I'll look at the. Okay. Do you want to do a screen share and?
Yeah, it'll be just a second. Let me bring it up here.
Roll video clip. Just curious, I'm going to pose the question out there to the people in the chat. How many X-Carve users do we have out there in the chat? If you're an X-Carve user, raise your hand or something.
Oh, we're running quiet.
Yeah, I see Brian on there.
Yeah, Brian.
Summers Woodward.
Tommy G spoke up too, but I don't know if you can really call his an X-Carve anymore. That's
an EX carve.
That's a G carve.
That's kind of stretching it, you know. Yeah, Shapeoko 2 heavily modified. Todd.
Take it easy, Mark.
Of course, Michael Mertzke, he's an X-Carve user.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do an actual test run because I'm logged into the wrong YouTube account out in the shop here.
Oh, okay.
So just let me know if you can't see this. No, I don't need the screen share for that anymore. Sorry. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna lock it on you, Jerry. Show us what you can there.
Well, it actually moves. We can see that. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it up an inch and run a program until the spindle's running.
Oh, that's
Jerry,
moving a lot faster.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. With all the upgrades you've made, have you been able to increase your speed a lot?
Yeah, there's a couple things that help with that. Is I use tapered ball nose bits that are TN coated, and they can go pretty fast, a lot faster than normal bits. The one that's in there right now is a 4-flute compression bit, so it does up and down. It sounds a lot weirder without the motor running.
Yeah, you can kind of see the change in action there a little bit.
It's a pretty detailed picture that it's trying to do right now, so it's going to be small steps, but
Right.
overall it's a lot more secure. The side rails don't flex. The single piece doesn't flex. I was hoping by upgrading this it would be able to support the water-cooled spindle, but I think it's still too heavy.
Yeah. How much does your spindle weigh, Jerry? Do you know?
It's got to be about 10 pounds.
Okay. So what kind of speeds were you getting with the old belt thing versus what you're getting now? Give us like a before and after.
It's also kind of limited to the router itself because it's just a palm router. You can't kick it up way too much.
Yeah, is that a Bosch Colt? Is that what you're running?
Yeah. Go ahead and stop this. But yeah, it's a Bosch Colt. That's why I went up to the water-cooled spindle. I wanted it to go faster. The top I can do with this right now is about 100 inches per minute with the V-carve. If I push it past 70 on Sapele or oak or something, even with this 4-flute bit, it kind of starts to bog.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is with the chains, it doesn't really slip. It with the chains or with the belt, if it was pushing into some nice Sapele or something, going too fast for it, it would just lose steps and then cut across the board and screw it all up.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very nice. I like your added dust protection there that you've got on the sides.
Yeah. It's actually got a whole cover, but I had to take it off because you can't see it. And it was designed to have a dust collector solely for this, just sucking the air out. But I haven't used it because I've been trying to clean it up and show it off now that the chains are on.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's running really good. Now, is that, Richard, I don't want to speak for you now, but is that option, because if we got some folks out there watching that are getting the wheels turning, watching that chain drive, is there something available for them to do the same type upgrades that Michael and Jerry has done?
Well, Jerry and I talked about, I offered the designs to him a couple years ago, and I told him that they're freely posted on my Facebook page. And I says, if he wanted to start manufacturing them, he could go right ahead and do that. Already got the drawings, and I don't have an X-Carve, so all I had was the solid models to be able to play around with it. And when I designed this upgrade, I had several iterations before I decided on this one. And quite frankly, the chain drive that you're using there is what I use on my CNC, on my Access. So it's exactly the same sprockets and components. So I knew it would work. So it was just a matter of getting somebody out there to try it out. And Jerry was the first one that bit. And
yeah,
a lot of time doing it. Now I know Juan has made a couple sets for Michael, and he's posted a couple of videos that he shared with me privately about his running. And he was saying that he can run a little faster and a little deeper with the chains because they just don't stretch at all.
Yeah. Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not going to lose steps like the, or at least they shouldn't, like those little flimsy belts did. And I guess as I understand it, David Battershell is working on that same kind of setup too. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I've taken Rich's shade tree plans, and his are for a 4x4, and I am tweaking it down to fit into my workspace. So I'm going to be about 2.5 feet by 4. So I'm going to be bigger than your original shoestring, but not anywhere close to what you guys are running. So I'm going to try the chain drive. And my thought process was, if I get a bigger place to work, after I learn on the smaller bed, then I can add a few master links and build it out.
There you go. Okay.
That's the one nice thing about the design. You can just add chain and rails, whereas you have to buy new lead screws if you go bigger.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot of questions coming in.
Okay. Well, let's have them.
Okay, we've got a couple people, Harry Vaughn Sr. and Jerry Coleman, both are wondering, how about backlash? Do you have any problem with backlash?
Not at all.
I tried to measure it, but my digital reader is from Harbor Freight and not the greatest. I couldn't figure out any backlash. I mean, if it makes a picture look like it's supposed to, I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah, my chain drive machine is a 4x8, and I can run the full length of the machine and basically come back in within a half a mil.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. We have one person, TRS DOS 1, is saying that he has to square up his X and Y a lot on his chain drive system. So,
I don't have that problem.
Okay.
The reason why I don't have that problem in my design is that I drive both sides with a single axle and a single motor.
Okay.
My motor's mounted up in the gantry, and it's sprocket out both sides.
So even if you were to lose steps, you'd lose them equally on both sides because you only got the one motor turning it. So
yeah, once you square it up mechanically and tighten down the sprockets, mechanically you cannot get out of square.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious, whoever that is, that TRS DOS 1 or whatever. I'm wondering if are they using the single stepper to drive that, or is he, to drive the, I guess it'd be the Y-axis. I don't really know how your machine's built. Or are you using two steppers and slaving them together? I'm curious to know how that's working out. Hey, TJ, I see him.
He just responded. He said, "So is mine." I don't know if he's referring to the single, or not, but
it says and about to add another to my Y. So is he talking about another stepper motor? I guess.
Okay, please understand, guys, that we're running about a 30-second lag. So when you hear us saying something over there in YouTube, we said that about 30 seconds ago. So try to finish the thought as you remember that.
Okay, he now has one motor, and I guess he's getting ready to add a second one from what I'm getting out of that.
Going to add
Jerry and Michael, you're both running a motor for each side, so you're not having any problem with.
I haven't had any problem.
Getting cattywampus, as they say.
And the chain, I used to, with the belts, I used to be able to grab this and the whole thing would shift. Like this side would be independent. But with this solid one piece and the chains, it doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
So it physically, it's going to start same sprocket tooth every time.
Yeah. Now, I know that you are having some issues with one side kind of binding, and I assume that you got that worked out.
I found out
that
the push pin is actually, it pulled out of the Delrin. It wasn't tightened enough.
Okay. Yeah, because one of the things that I really try and convey with a chain drive versus the belt is that you don't need nearly as much tension on a chain drive in order to hold tolerance. Whereas the belt, everyone seems to be, over tensioning them, and that puts a lot of side load on the stepper motors, which is the exact reason why a lot of those motors end up losing steps, because those motors aren't built to be side loaded. They're built to be axial. And when you put a lot of belt tension on them, you're basically bending the shaft and the bearing. And so that puts a lot of side stress on the motor that causes it to stall and lose steps. Whereas the chain, you don't need but to tighten it just enough to take out any backlash. And from there, you should be just fine. I've run my machine 3 years now, and I have not had to adjust it at all.
What size chain are you guys using? Are you talking bike chain or a smaller
It's a
chain?
number 25 chain. It's the smallest chain you can get. It's rated for 200 pounds, so.
Okay.
While we're talking about that, I put the supplies and buy purchase list on a forum post on the Inventables website. So if you go into the upgrade section, there's a post in there talking about chain drive, and it has all the plans and order links and everything there. So.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate that post too.
Cool.
They have an upgrade section on their website.
They do. Anything that you've done over and above what you purchased.
Wow. Wow.
and to mention that they released this year what they call an upgrade for 2016, but the upgrade is everything that the users have mentioned that upgrade. So the one-piece X-rail, eccentric washers instead of spacers, controller. There's a few other things, touch plate, but everything that users have been mentioned that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm guessing the upgrade section is probably pretty popular.
Right.
on that website. Just saying,
Okay, Alan H wants to know, do you run the chains dry or lubricated? If you lubricate them, how do you keep the dust out of them?
I run them dry.
Okay.
You got to know that the chain is actually static. It does not move from end to end of the machine. So the only portion that actually gets any flex at all is what wraps up over the stepper motor. So there's very little wear and tear on the chain.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I could see you'd probably be flipping oil and stuff everywhere if you tried to put WD or whatever. You'd be flipping that stuff everywhere as you're running it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like a motorcycle that loops.
I see we're getting some questions over here. People wondering what's in my stocking back here.
Uh-huh.
I saw that stocking back there.
Yeah, I'm all getting all decked out for Christmas here. So, it's over here on this side, I guess. Yeah. But, yeah.
See, I thought that was Rocky stocking.
Well, it probably is because he gets more treats. I don't get anything.
Okay, TRS DOS 1 came back and said the way I have been doing it is by putting a sheet of wood on my table, have the y-axis cut a shallow groove, then have the x-axis cut across it, then take a square to see if it's aligned. Usually it's not aligned. So I don't know if that's any help to you guys or what. No, evidently not.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be relying upon your drive system to square your gantry. You should have your gantry perpendicular to each other and rolling freely squared before you put on your lead screws or drive chain or belt or whatever. All of that should be squared up first.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I went above and beyond on the front here and used my dial calipers so that the first link of the chain is identically spaced on both sides. I don't know if that would help the squareness at all.
No.
But it was just something I felt I needed to do.
Well, that just looking at that thing, Jerry, that thing looks a whole lot more solid than it was. And I don't know if some of you guys may not know that, but I have an X-Carve around here someplace. I haven't even done anything with it, but I was going to hook a laser up and just leave the little belts and all that on it and just use it for a laser, because it's, I've kind of dry run and they seem to be fine as long as you're not trying to cut anything with them. So I may try to hook mine up with a laser, but yeah, I know it doesn't look near as beefy as yours, Jerry.
Yeah, I also built the top as a torsion box. So it's flat, the frame is flat, and then the unit should be flat.
Yeah. That's a big help.
Yeah. So, Jerry, I know you do a lot of, or I guess you do. I see pictures all the time on Facebook or in different places about the craft shows you go to.
Yeah.
What would you say, like all the stuff you make to take to craft shows, what percentage of those things are made with your CNC? Or do you want to divulge that,
I really don't care, and there are guys that come up and say, I used the CNC, didn't you? And I understand, and there's a lot of people that gets me more conversations than anything. But I also do a lot of turning, so it kind of offsets it. I do use a lathe, and I do everything in the shop with regular tools, but I have started relying on this a lot more. I'd like to think that I didn't, but last show I did, I probably added up about 75% of it was something that was embellished with the CNC or completely done on the CNC. But it's just simple things like, candle displays. Instead of using a Forstner bit to drill the holes, I use the CNC, so they're cleaner. And it's not really cheating in my book.
Well, the thing I always like about using a CNC, and I'm sure you do too, especially now that you've got yours upgraded, where you probably feel like you can trust it to run a little better without having to stand over it watching it, is it's like another set of hands, because you can have it running something while you're on the other side of the shop doing something else.
Oh yeah. Yeah, some of these things like the Aztec signs, Aztec calendars, that can go into a 7-8 hour cut. So I know people don't recommend it, but I'll leave this thing running when I go grocery shopping and run to Home Depot, come back, take a nap. But
yeah, well, I know there's always the people that would get on me if they knew some of the stuff I do while mine's running too. But it's nice to be able to have confidence in your machine to do that kind of thing. And I don't think probably the owners of a stock X-Carve are that confident.
Yeah, I've cut through many clamps with the belt system.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only one.
Well, that says something if it'll cut through a clamp.
I cut through a clamp with the chain driver today.
Okay, Carol Bennett is asking, is that channel you made Unistrut? I think he's talking about the single beam on your, is that what your Y, your X?
X. Is he talking that or the frame underneath the bottom?
The channel.
Well, this is the actual upgrade from Inventables. I had done the two-piece with the steel and bolted it together, but this was supposed to lighten it so I could try and use my spindle. I just didn't feel confident with that. The base rail is just regular 20 by 40 T-track extrusions that I got from Misumi because it was cheaper than Inventables.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm surprised Becca Miller's out there in chat. She says a sidewinder will shortcut through the clamp. Yeah. I haven't seen anybody ask it yet, but I'm sure somebody will before the show's over. Jerry, what, if you want to tell this, how much money do you have tied up in the upgrade portion, or, because I'm sure somebody else is probably, if they're wanting to do the same to theirs, wanting to know what it's going to run them.
I think Michael itemized.
Yeah, he's got a good itemization on that. It was less than $200.
Yeah, I think total price was 160, 170. Yeah. But again, I didn't buy the Delrin. I purchased aluminum and sent it to Juan, and Juan helped me out. So,
which I would suggest if you can do it.
Yeah, so for really less than a couple $100, you can get it pretty nice then.
Yeah.
So I see a side business for Juan there.
Right?
Yeah, that's part of why I decided not to offer a kit for this, because it is not easy. With using the CNC to make those parts, it's not like a normal. These little things have to be precise, and I don't have the equipment for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see somebody's asking. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Jerry Coleman wants to know if you know how many micro steps you're running on your motors there.
I think I put it in chat. It's 27.997, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's metric.
Okay.
And if I guess if you're asking the question, you know how to change it in an easel, or if you can use putty or something to go in there and change the dribble settings. But go into easel, machine inspector, and it'll allow you to change the steps per the.
Yeah, there was another question.
One of the things that Jerry.
I'm sorry. There was a question in the chat here. Let me get this before it scrolls up. They're asking, did any of you change the controller? Michael or Jerry, did you change the controller, or are you still using the same thing that it came with?
You're still using the same easel, I believe, right, to generate the step?
Yes, we're as far as I know, we are still both using the original Arduino and G-Shield.
Yeah, because they're using a 9-tooth sprocket, they had to change the number of steps that are being generated. And when Jerry and I were working that out, what number of steps we needed to use, we found out that the X-Carve controller is 8th stepping. So we then had to recalculate, because I was originally figuring it was 16th stepping, and it turned out to be 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all original equipment still. I did turn my motors up a little bit. I don't know if that matters, not the motors, but the actual potentiometers. But I just felt more secure with that, with a little extra for the chain.
Okay, Jeff Robinson wants to know, you're running a 25 pitch chain. What's the sprocket combo?
It's a 9-tooth sprocket, and the pitch on the chain's a 1/4 inch.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Is there any other questions through there?
We're
scrolling by pretty quick. It's kind of slowed down now.
We're caught up
out there in the chat.
Robert Evans says he likes Jerry's shirt.
Star Wars.
Okay, you have any questions, y'all? Throw them in the chat.
Yeah, it's got quiet all of a sudden here.
Yeah, serious.
Oh, well, Jerry, I know I've heard a rumor that you're actually going to sell that X-Carve. Are you going to try to get a entry into the challenge before you sell that thing, or?
I might. It was pretty scary. I didn't even know if I'd have it this weekend, but it seems like everybody's wives said no for December. So
fancy that.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
Yeah. I definitely, I don't have room to build. I'm actually building a Sidewinder CNC, but I don't have room to build that in the shop and keep this up. So that's why this one has to go. But yeah, I'm gonna try. You know, I got a few ideas.
Cool.
Okay, this is kind of off topic, but I see Carol Bennett says, I need a part number and vendor for the stepper motors for my GarageWorks CNC.
On the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. I got a link, takes you straight to it. Let's go to the website, GarageWorksCNC.com.
As far as I understand, I'm using the DeWalt. As long as you go slow, you'll be fine.
You got a DeWalt on yours?
Yeah, I'm using the 611 on mine.
611. Okay.
Okay, Carol also says he wants to extend the cable for the motors. They're on the same website. They're all there at Xylotex.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, I got a website that'll take you right to it on the GarageWorks CNC website. I try to make it easy, guys.
Yeah, they also sell the breakout board for in case you want to add limit switches and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, might as well pick one up because they're like what, $10 or something. Might as well pick one of those up while you order.
Yeah, they're $15, and if you pile all this stuff together, you get one shipping charge. So.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, any questions, y'all? No.
So I went and grabbed a the projects I've done since I switched over to the chain drive. So I don't know if you guys can see it.
All right.
Now, hold on here, Michael. Let me lock it on you here. Oh yeah.
So, and this is another what's carving right now is another one of these for grandparents. So.
Okay. Now, what did you use the what software did you use to do that?
It's a Photo V-Carve from Vetric.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just go back. If you have any questions on that, go watch episode 4 of this series. I think that's when Melinda was on.
Yeah, I believe you're right, Michael. And I've been trying to get her to come back on here. I know I think she had some audio trouble when we had her on, and it was kind of tough to hear her. And she's a busy gal, so I'm trying to get, whenever her time frees up, get her back on here to do another show about the Photo V-Carve.
I think the biggest thing I learned from there is the type of wood to use.
Mm-hmm.
Is the biggest thing, because I've tried oak and that's just the grain is horrible. I've had good luck with maple and basswood. Those two woods look really good.
Okay, Tommy G is asking either of you, Jerry or Michael, if you had to do the upgrade all over again, would you do anything different?
I wouldn't. I know that right after I did mine, after I got Juan to make the parts for me, Russ sent me a new design with a different layout on the sprocket holder for the Y-axis, the holders for the Y-axis. I don't know if that would make a difference, but I know it's a different design. So,
what about you, Jerry? Would you do anything different, or?
Well, Richard actually laid it out really nice. I did suggest moving the wheels to the inside so it wrapped a little more chain around the stepper motor.
I
didn't make it. I did see the plan, but it works. So it's just like a wheel. Why reinvent it? You did a really good job laying it out. So.
Yeah, I changed the design upon your request. I didn't think it was necessary, but I aim to please.
Hey, Lyle Foyt is asking, does the chain drive allow for more torque from the steppers?
Yeah, you get less stretch of the belt, I would think. I think Michael was saying you can really put a lot of pressure on your.
If you look at the link on the forum for link, I could link it here, but YouTube is done. Won't let me. On the Inventables link, there's a YouTube post. Very first carve I did, I was going 100 inches a minute with a straight bit, straight fluted, not V-carve anything. It was It was doing really, really well. If you can watch that video, so that's way faster than belts.
Okay, I have a couple people asking now, Jeff Robinson and Lyle Foyt both. What about lead screw versus chain drive? I guess torque-wise, speeds, feeds, etc.
Chain drive is more flexible as far as being able to change your design as far as length and width. If the discussion for accuracy, they say lead screws are better for accuracy.
Yeah, if you're going to go over about 6 foot long, I don't think you can go with lead screw unless you want to get into some real heavy duty lead screw, can you?
Yeah. When you start getting bigger than 4 feet, 4x4s, then the cost goes up considerably. Chain is much cheaper. You can buy 10 feet of chain for like $13 on eBay.
This versus that, though, is kind of like how much money do you have? Because if you want something better, you might as well go to Rack and Pinion.
Yeah, really. It's just like race cars. Speed costs money. Son, how fast do you want to go?
Yeah.
Chain drive is actually as accurate as Rack and Pinion. It's just cheaper.
And I was actually surprised at how inexpensive Rack and Pinion is. It's not as expensive as I thought it would be. I did a little bit of looking into it.
The difference, though, is it's not the rack that's less expensive. It's the pinion, the fact that it has to pivot, be spring loaded into the rack. That whole mechanism also runs a 3-to-1 gear ratio. Right. So the cost of that whole assembly is about $100 a motor. And so that doesn't make it, in my mind, as economical as you would think.
Yeah, it's just that I thought it was a lot more expensive than that. I know it's not any one piece, but I thought we were talking like $1,000 an axis, and it's just not that way.
No.
So. Okay, what about reinforcing your timing belt? Reinforced timing belting, I guess, is what he's asking.
Yeah,
instead of
I think he's talking about kind of like a serpentine belt on your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They all stretch.
Sounds like more money to me.
Yep. I mean, when you think about it, guys, you can chase things, chase ideas if you want, being penny wise, pound foolish, but there's a reason why they're not making them with that.
Yeah, and if I could chime in a little bit here, I mean, I don't know anything about anything other than what you guys are telling me, but from my research that I've been doing is I'm trying to get into this. Why would you want to try something that's totally different because you think you've got the better idea as you're first getting into it? And that's one of the reasons I went with the chain drive that Rich had already proven. It's like, for me, this is what I need right now to get started. And, if you're always looking to build a better mousetrap, the mouse is going to get away. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like, don't overthink it. Let's just put it together and tweak what we've got and then have a little fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't reinvent the wheel here. I stole this idea from another website that's been out on the internet for years and years. I think a lot of us know what that website's name is. And they all run chain drives. So.
Yeah, there's really, I mean, you think about it, there's nothing we've talked about on this show that's a brand new idea. They've all been doing this kind of stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
It always amazes me when somebody comes up with something that they want to try that's, they've got this idea that it's going to be way better. And I'm like, go for it, buddy, if you want to,
Yeah.
I tend to stick with what works.
Yeah. I mean, ask yourself, why there's a reason why they're using what they're using and a reason why they're not using what they're using. I mean, you know, we've got some people over here. Todd is saying that you get better resolution with a rack. Yeah, absolutely. You get better resolution with rack and pinion. And that's why the big expensive machines have rack and pinion. They know it works. And, you know, but if you're paying $10,000, $15,000 for a machine, if I paid that much money and it showed up with chains or lead screws, I'd be sending it right back, you know?
Yeah. One of the things with the 3-to-1 gear ratio on a rack and pinion, it's almost literally you're getting the torque ratio increase with the gearing of the motor. But if you work your way through the gearing, it's almost 1-to-1 as far as your motor is concerned. I mean, 1 revolution of the motor equals 1 inch of travel.
On rack and pinion or a chain drive you're talking about?
No, no, on rack and pinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why you have to do the speed reduction. Right.
Yeah, okay. If you go through the math, basically their pitch diameter of their rack and pinion is 1 inch, so that's 3.1415. That's, you know, pi. So that's why they want to run a 3-to-1 ratio, gear ratio, off their motors. So 1 revolution of the motor, 200 steps equals 1 inch of travel.
Right. Okay. Gussie Banjos just popped in and said he's building Dave's machine. I don't know which version. 6 foot by 4 foot using full length lead screws, hoping that's going to go okay. Is that okay, Dave?
Oh, he's asking for permission?
He says.
Yeah, it should
go
work.
big or go home.
Right.
I've seen a couple of people that have made.
There's a lot of guys out there that built the same thing, or even the older version, and, you know, went ahead and used all the lead screw they had. And,
I think there was a guy on YouTube that released like a 12 video series about one, and it's, well, I think 4x6 or 4x8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw a very, very interesting advertisement for a CNC recently, to where the guy actually took the lead screws and fixed them so that they don't rotate. And then he mounted his lead screw nut on a bearing with a pulley, and he's basically spinning his nut rather than spinning the lead screw. So with that, you could, it almost becomes rack and pinion, because you don't have to worry about the lead screw whipping around.
Okay. Okay.
That's interesting, I guess.
If I can find the link, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying Michael, the tech carver, is the fella who is making the longer, the big.
He did like a 12 or 13 part series on building it, and it's, I think it's a 4x8, full 4x8, or I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't know where he got lead screws that big, but
you can get them. I have found them. You'll probably want to go bigger than 1/2 inch, but
Helix Linear sells 12-foot long lead screws and the mating nuts to go with them.
Yeah, I've when we were having a discussion on Facebook about that, I looked it up. I just Googled Acme lead screw. I looked for 1 inch Acme lead screw, and there's a few places. There's a few places that have them. So
yeah, but what's the start on them and stuff like that? I mean, is it
same as yours? 5 start, half.
You could get 2 start or 5 start. So
unless you've got a decent pitch on it, you can't turn them overly fast unless it's really thick. You're going to get whip on them, and
right,
it'll probably run a lot slower.
And that's why it's not suggested to go anything over about 6 foot. So unless you're going real big diameter.
Yeah.
So.
I can't see I can't see going any bigger than a 4x4 anyway. Although, you know, some people I guess have cabinet making in mind, but for the standard hobbyist, the 4x4, Dave's machine is perfect.
And you say that as a person who has built a machine that's big enough for a full sheet of plywood, right?
Yes, mine's a 4x8, but 90% of the time I don't use anything more than about 40 inches by 32 inches.
Yeah, and that's something I always try to caution people about when they start talking to me and they go, well, I want to stretch it out where I can put a full sheet of plywood on there. And, you know, that's great, but are you going to put a full sheet of plywood on there every single time? Because if you're not, you're taking up a lot of shop space just for a, you know, once in a while type thing, when you can still kind of do the same thing with a 4x4, just feed it through and index it, you know, if you're only doing it once in a while.
It makes for a very expensive assembly table, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I use mine for.
Alan H. mentioned how hard is it to index 4x48 sheet by 4x4. They referenced the last video on the series where Mark talked about tiling.
Oh, the tiling, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Alan's question. Yeah, that's the show we did last week.
I mean, you have to ask yourself whether you're buying a CNC or building one is what size material are you going to be putting on there most of the time? If it's a 4x8, then you better build a 4x8, you know, something that'll handle a 4x8. But if it's not, you know, if you're only going to run a 4x8 once in a while to do a sign or something like that, you'd be better off to save that shop space and build a 4x4 and, you know, index it through there.
Yeah.
You know, and I mentioned last week, I think it was when we were talking about the tiling, I did a little project for my buddy Zach Manring. He needed, he was doing a project for a customer of his, and he needed a 4x8. And he asked me, he said, well, how big can you cut? And I said, well, I can't cut 4x8. I said, I can cut about 4x4. And so what I did is I just cut 1/2 inch MDF and did it in 2 pieces. And then he used that as a template to cut it out of 4x8. So it's, you know, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat without having to have a big old 4x8 CNC taking up a room that I'm only using once in a while. So, and if you haven't seen it, I think he had a picture of that on Facebook or something. That Mustang horse is what it was. Mm-hmm. He was on the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still out there or not.
Okay, Gussie Banjo's saying he's going to make cigar box guitars and banjos and cut necks on Dave's rotary 4th axis. Yeah, you don't need an 8-foot by 4-foot machine for that.
Todd F. said he's actually downsizing his machine to 1,000 by 1,000 millimeters. Coming from an X-Carve 1,000 by 1,000, I would say I want to put a 48-inch plywood on there, and I can't.
Yeah. So.
4x6,
excuse me, not 4x8. So, okay. Well, we're caught up on questions.
Okay. How are we doing on time? We about, Jerry, you got anything else you want to tell us about that newfangled X-Carve you got? Now's your chance to make a sales pitch. You know.
It is for sale. If anybody wants one, they're in Texas. This whole bench goes with it. But if not, I see a lot of people complaining about taking it apart and shipping it. As long as you're not sending the waste board, I don't see a problem with that. But other than that, it's a great machine. It's great. I learned a lot. I just decided that for the projects I want to do, I got to have a 48-inch bed at least. And so the Sidewinder's coming in, and I've been getting parts all week.
You have that project you were working on, Jerry, the when you tried out, that really cool eagle carving you did?
Yeah, I do have the eagle.
That was like your first project on it when you were finished with it, right?
Yeah, the night I finished it, I did a live hangout with some of the guys.
And what'd you run that one at?
That was 100 inches per minute.
Yeah, there you go. That's nice.
And you just did the finish pass, right? Or because I don't remember there being a roughing pass on that when you're running it.
No, it was
No, straight finish, no rough. And it came out rather well for Purple Heart. This is some really serious wood.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. Okay, folks, so if you're in the market for an X-Carve, already assembled, already tweaked,
Fully upgraded.
I want to throw a little shout out here. I'm sorry, Joe Fox saying this is off topic, but I want to share that I finished my Gatton CNC. It's up and running. Thank you, Dave, for all you do for this community, and all of you guys for sharing your knowledge. Joe, you rock, man. But remember, pictures or it didn't happen.
Right. Go a step further. Put some YouTube videos up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now you have no excuse. You have 2 weeks for the Gatton 2016 Christmas Challenge. You have 2 weeks.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
lots of
and
time.
for Jerry Brown, Jeff Robinson saying, can I work for that X-Carve? How much floor you got needs to be swept up? You got any chores you need done around the house? Roof needs to be reshingled. I mean,
I think Jeff Robinson's local here in the area here in Texas.
oh,
Yeah.
Well, he
somebody
just
else-
finished some windows or something, I think, didn't you, Jerry?
Yeah, no, I have 23 windows on the house that are old wooden frame, but I'm not going to bother dealing with that until 2020 or something.
But there you go, Jeff Robinson. You need a machine assembled and ready to go, plug and play. It's ready for you.
Yeah, and I failed to mention earlier too when I was talking about the Garage Works giveaway, so I'll mention it again now. I said I wanted to try to mention it every show, just so people will know. When I'm going to ship whoever wins the Garage Works CNC. It's a 36 by 24. I'm going to ship it to anywhere in the U.S. and Canada on my nickel. But I did want to also offer that if anybody if you should win it and you live close enough to where you feel like it would be worth it for you to drive here, you could pick it up. It'd already be assembled. It'd already be dialed in, running great. And you could also, if you're brand new, you can get some training, as far as showing you how to do things with it. So I just want to mention that to give anybody an option. Like I said, if you live close, if you live pretty far away, I know you're not going to want to do that, but I thought I would throw that option out there, and I wanted to mention that again. So if we got, we're doing good on time tonight. No more questions?
Oh, hey, let me mention, I recently, if you're getting into the new CNC world, I recently got a load of desktops, all of which have a parallel port on them. I will be refurbing them and selling them out fairly cheap if anyone is interested.
there you go.
Yeah, Michael sent me a picture, and he had a whole truck bed full of those things. I'm like, man, what a score!
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, they're out there, folks. I know a lot of people keep saying they can't find a computer with a parallel port, stuff like that. I'm telling you, they're still out there. You just gotta look around for them.
I got about 20 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Robinson says if he wins it, it'll be his wife and his 32nd anniversary trip to come out there to Atlanta to visit you there, Dave.
Okay. I'm sure the wife will love that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she'll just love the heck out of that.
Can your wife run a shop vac?
Oh, ouch! Oh,
Just kidding.
Dave, you better hope he don't win that, because someone's going to come east with a frying pan with your name on it.
Okay, well, I guess we don't have any more questions, and Jerry doesn't have anything else to say about his X-Carve. And anybody got anything else they want to talk about?
He actually answered. He said yes.
Okay, who was selling the computers? That was Michael Chipser. Michael Chipser.
Yeah, he just put a post in the chat there. If you hover over his name, you can go straight to his YouTube channel or whatever you need to do to contact him.
Or you can check the description box.
Facebook.
There's a link to his everything.
So most of them will have those. They should all have Windows 7. I don't know about RAM or anything, but I'll boot them up, test them, make sure everything works. So.
Yeah, in fact, I may even want to buy one from you, Michael.
Yeah, I'm giving one to Juan tomorrow since he helped me out with the aluminum blocks. I'll be splitting up with him hopefully tomorrow to get him one. And Jerry, he'll probably get one for his new machine when he gets it. So.
Yeah, that's another question kind of off topic here, but Paul's Messy Workshop says, can the Gatton CNC be built at 24 by 36? Sure, it's real easy to shrink it up if you don't want to build them. You know, the plans are designed around using a half sheet of plywood as the table, but you can make it bigger or smaller, particularly smaller, without any problem at all.
All right.
There's
Pretty
a
much
question there
just
from,
changing the gantry length.
Yeah, I mean, because all the pieces you get from me, you know, I don't ship the cross members of the gantry anyway. You cut them, you know, it's just a rectangle cut. So you just make them shorter if you don't want to make it as big. Make the table smaller.
Yep.
There was a question there from
people out there that have actually made it exactly to the plans. I'm guessing there's probably not very many that I think they kind of modify it to fit their own shop, which is why I designed it that way. You know, so you can make it smaller or whatever.
Sorry, Dave. There was a question there from Southern Ginger about what's the best way to do inlays and what cutters to use.
Well, I think they should go watch your video, Peter, don't you? I know
Well, I do, yeah.
I've got an excellent video on doing, and you did...
yeah, I did an inlay for a V-carve inlay. I think that's the best way of doing it to get the best finish.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, episode 59 it is. So, yeah, and just use V-cutters.
Yep.
Yeah, Vectric's got a pretty good video, and Peter's got an excellent video as well. So check him out and watch that. All right, anything else, guys? About ready to wrap this one up? I don't see any more questions over there. All right, well, I guess...
Dave, there's a question. If they're building a 4x4, what is the best size for the table?
Oh, well, if they're wanting to be able to put a half sheet of plywood on there, you probably want to make your table at least 54. I made mine 56 inches wide just to give me plenty of room to clamp. And you're probably going to want to make it about 50, let's see. Yeah, about 52 or 54 inches deep.
Yeah.
Because depending on what size router you put on the thing, you're going to lose about 13, 14 inches on the Y.
Just do like I did, get a 5x5 sheet of plywood. 5x5, make it 60 by 60.
Now, was he talking about the table to put it on, or the actual table of the machine?
That had me thinking too. I
think you were talking about what to put it on, not it sounds like he was building, or I don't know if he was building or buying the 4x4. I don't know.
Well, what would be both? I guess the 56 one would be for the one for it to sit on, right?
Yeah.
He said the table to put it on, so
if you got the room, you know, if you're wanting to make a machine that'll cut a half sheet of plywood, 48 by 48, you need to build the stand or table that it's sitting on. If you got room, go ahead and make it 5 by 5, because you'll use up most of that. Because like I said, I made my the table of my CNC is 56 inches wide. You could probably get by with a little less than that and still be able to cut 48, but like I said, you're going to lose about 13 and a half to 14 inches on the Y. So if you need to cut 48 there, you just add 14 to it. Was that 52 inches or so?
Thereabouts.
Thereabouts.
So.
All right. I don't. What are they talking about? Only in a 32-bit version of Windows. What is that?
They're saying Mach 3 doesn't work with 64-bit Windows, only 32-bit.
No, it works with 64. We've had that conversation before.
Right.
64.
Not through the parallel port. The parallel port driver will not work with 64-bit.
So if you're using a UC100 or something, it'll work, but not through the parallel.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
The issue is running Mach 3 on Windows 7, and so that only works through like a USB port.
Right.
I'm running Windows 7 and it's 32-bit and it works just fine.
Yes,
Right.
32-bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can run 32-bit on a Windows 7 machine.
Yeah.
With the through the parallel port. It's all up, has to do with the parallel port.
Si, senor.
Right.
So now if you're running through a UC100 or something like that, you can have whatever you want.
Si, senor.
Nope.
Okay.
All
Are we done?
We're done.
Okay.
We're finished.
We'll put a wrap on this.
Hit that gong.
Okay. Thanks everybody out there for watching. I know we have people watching at one time. They've dropped off a little now, but appreciate y'all coming around, hanging out with us. Thanks all the guys on the panel. David, Jerry, Juan, Mark, Michael, Peter, Rich. Hey, Russ Meadows snuck in there.
I did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my
Real
gosh.
quick.
We came to do an update on the CNC.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't see you sneak in there, Russ. We got to get the Russ Meadows update.
Really?
Just say that thing around it.
I did see some video on Facebook the other day.
It's running.
Yeah.
It's cutting. It's running. And I can't hardly stand to be at work because all I'm doing is thinking about coming back home and cutting something.
You're welcome.
There you go.
I'll make a mistake.
That's the feeling, baby. That's the feeling.
It makes me
That's
mad.
why I work from home.
Yeah.
Welcome to the addiction, Russ.
Hello, my name is Russ. And I like CNCs.
Hello, bro.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks everybody for watching, and I guess we'll see you next week. We're gonna have Becca Miller on. I see she's still over there in the chat, Becky. I hope you haven't forgot. You said you're gonna be on next week. So anyway, we'll wrap this one up, and we'll see y'all next week. Y'all.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.